Houston, I think we have a problem. Look at this. My SD memory card for my camera won't fit or won't stay in the camera. Okay, good news. Obviously I'm recording with my actual camera. I tried to put another memory card in, and I'm looking at it just to make sure I got it. There's this little plastic piece, presumably from my video SD card. Now I'm at my official vlogging spot, out here on the deck in our pretty backyard with the cat. Well, I'm going to talk about Indiana. I've got my computer here, and I'm going to read some facts to you. This is probably going to be really boring. Hopefully I can find some way to spice it up. Maybe I'll add some music. Now, the Indiana state motto, the Crossroads of America, can be traced back to the early 1800s. The National Road, a major westward route, and the North-South Michigan Road crossed in Indianapolis. And today, more major highways intersect in Indiana than in any other state. And Indiana has more miles of interstate highway per square mile than any other state. So, Indianians, see, it doesn't work. We call ourselves the Hoosiers, and there's a couple of stories that go with that as to how that story came along. On the early Indiana frontier, log homes were few and far between in the Indiana interior. There were no real close neighbors, so when someone knocked on a cabin door or was heard coming through the woods, a person would yell out, "Who's here?" or "Who's here?" This evolved into the word Hoosier. This next one is like, yeah, we're cool in Indiana. We like to beat each other up. In frontier Indiana, there are many small taverns and saloons scattered throughout the state. Continually, fights broke out in these bars with punching, biting, scratching, and gouging occurring. The next morning, the bartender was likely to find an ear on the floor of the saloon, nudge it with his foot, and call out, "Who's here?" This evolved into the word Hoosier. I don't know how I feel about that. Now, for some fun facts. 1918 was the year an outgoing, likable, 6-foot-tall basketball player named Charles H. Chuck Taylor made the Indiana High School All-Star team. Chuck was a Columbus-born athlete and later a sports broadcaster. He developed a high-top sneaker known as Chucks that were created by Converse. And speaking of basketball, who could forget Larry Bird? You know, he, in 1979, led Indiana State University, my alma mater, to the NCAA finals against Magic Johnson. And never mind that we lost. For you band geeks out there, Elkhart, Indiana is the band instrument capital of the world. Theme parks were invented in Indiana. The world's first theme park opened on August 3rd, 1946 in Santa Claus, Indiana. Santa Claus Land opened a full 9 years before Mr. Disney opened his park in California. Today, Santa Claus Land is called Holiday World and serves free unlimited soft drinks and sunscreen. And in Monticello, Indiana, Monticello, I'm not sure. I say Monticello because I'm a music person. We have Indiana Beach, proving once again that there is more than corn in Indiana, and they actually say that in the commercials. Back to Santa Claus. It receives over 1,500,000 letters and requests at Christmas time. Indiana is also known as Lincoln's boyhood home because he moved here when he was 7 years old, and he lived in Spencer County. Ball State University, everything you need was funded in a large part by the Ball Corporation, who makes canning jars. Peru, Indiana, was known as the circus capital of the world. They also have an International Circus Hall of Fame museum. Peru is also the birthplace of Cole Porter. Now, this bit of history kind of holds some personal significance for me. Walking a half away from my mom's house in Fort Wayne is the Philo T. Farnsworth home from 1948 to 1967. Philo T. Farnsworth, who invented the TV, lived in Fort Wayne, and I've actually been trick-or-treating to that house. So it has some sentimental value to myself. And if you're a Rhett and Link fan, you have undoubtedly heard and watched The World's Largest Man music video. The World's Largest Man, or the Ice House Man, is located in Newcastle, Indiana. And the world's largest egg is located in Mentone, Indiana. And this concludes this week's edition of Tnt23 and Tess. I will see you next week with some cool information about Arizona. Yeah.